Hey, I wish the snow wasn't as much, Climate change sounds great.
Well, since climate is the general weather pattern over a large area, climate change is a shift in these patterns, resulting in potentially dramatic changes.
Global warming?
Global warming is a part of climate change. The average global temperature has been increasing very rapidly compared to the past.
Science!
Stay tall, the science wall.
Stay tall, the science wall.
What are you doing?
Making a greenhouse so I can talk about greenhouse gases.
Okay.
Greenhouse gases in the atmosphere act like glass in a greenhouse. They prevent heat loss by absorbing thermal energy from the sun and radiating it back down to Earth. This is known as the greenhouse effect.
One such greenhouse gas is methane. Methane is commonly used as a fuel source and is also released from the feces of ruminants, such as cows and sheep. Methane absorbs thermal energy and radiates it back out, similar to carbon dioxide, but it doesn't last as long. However, for the first 20 years after being released, it can be up to 84 times as potent as carbon dioxide at absorbing and radiating heat. Methane is commonly burned for energy, but this results in carbon dioxide being released. How can we reduce the vast amounts of methane being produced?
Consider the following. We can reduce the amount of methane being released simply by changing our diets. One thing that we can do is eat less red meat. Cattle with red meat, like cows and sheep, produce a lot of methane, so if we all ate less red meat, the demand for them will decrease. Less ruminants means less manure, and less manure means less methane. What other ways do humans impact climate change?
One major way that humans impact climate change is through deforestation. When we cut down forests, we destroy plants that process carbon dioxide. Not only that, but the burning of these trees produces 15% of global carbon dioxide emissions.
A large chunk of the rest of these emissions come from the burning of fossil fuels. 40% of the USA's carbon dioxide emissions are from burning fossil fuels to power cars and produce electricity. Industries that burn these fossil fuels release greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide.
Another human contribution to climate change is the use of nitrogen-enriched fertilizers. When these fertilizers are used, they release nitrous oxide. This is the largest source of nitrous oxide from the United States. America!
The breakdown of garbage in landfills by anaerobic organisms also contributes to climate change. Anaerobic means not eating oxygen, so they will survive while underneath the surface of landfills, breaking down the garbage humans have produced. These organisms produce large amounts of methane as well as many other greenhouse gases.
A fifth way that humans contribute to climate change is through the methane emissions from cattle and other livestock. While they do naturally produce methane, the human storage of manure off-gases large amounts of methane. P.U.
Did you know that?
Polar bears aren't the only animal that climate change affects.
Another species being affected by climate change are the green sea turtles, or the Colonia mitis. While they face threats of being caught by fishing, they also face a large threat due to rising water temperatures. The eggs of green sea turtles determine gender based on temperature, so the warmer water leads to 95% of green sea turtle hatchlings being female. The turtles then compensate for this by sharing males between rookeries, but the population is still decreasing.
Another species affected by global warming is the Atlantic cod. The higher water temperatures make the cod less likely to survive their youth, due to either the larvae going to deeper waters to get cool and thus being exposed to predators, or a lack of food. Either way, the number of cod reaching maturity is decreasing, and thereby the population.
The Arctic fox is also affected by climate change. Because of rising temperatures, the red fox is encroaching northwards and onto Arctic fox territory, and competing with them for dens and food. In Finland, the Arctic fox is already extinct, and there are low numbers around the rest of northern Europe.
As well as the Arctic fox, marine orangutans are greatly affected by climate change. Although they are at risk due to habitat loss from deforestation and industrialization, there have been incidents of wildfire destroying habitat and killing them. These wildfires spread so quickly because of the peat bog greenwich.
Even the giant tree frog of Indonesia is being affected by global warming. The breeding pools evaporate in higher temperatures, so the frogs aren't able to reproduce as much, and the population is decreasing.
Now you know.
Well, that's our show. Thanks for watching. See ya! Stay tall, the science wall.
Stay tall, the science wall.
Save.